we got someone here who is so ready for metal life, quote unquote. We got Devitto here. How's it going, sir?
I'm glad to be here. You know, you talk about metal life, everybody's heavy metal and all that kind of music. You know, we were kind of a metal band when I played with Billy Joel. We were aluminum foil, but we were metal.
It's still a metal. You can't discredit that at all.
Yeah.
When I was talking to a friend earlier, kind of about how this documentary is really cool because you take people from all sorts of different genres, some very prominent musicians, and you're making things universal, especially with heavy metal. That's really hard to do. You find a lot of metalheads aren't as going back to the rock and roll and blues and things like that. So I personally just wanted to make a comment that this documentary is a great way to consolidate music into just one heavy genre.
Well, I think anybody who's a great player of guitar, especially guitar, has their roots in the blues. You know, because that's the beginning, that's the basic. And when you go from there, so if you go back on the family tree, we'll all go back to the blues.
Of course.
And we can all relate. Or the Beatles, or, you know, we all go back to the same place.
Which is something that's actually a kind of a trend in heavy metal, is there's so much extreme sound, and the level of extreme has just gone so high. Where can you go from here? So there's kind of a resurgence back down to the blues, back down to jazz, getting back to the roots. And that must be awesome for you to see young people still worshiping Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and the Art Blakeys of the world.
Yeah, I think metal at one point got so fast, you know, that speed metal, that it was incomprehensible to actually hear it anymore. You didn't know what was going on. And now that it's going back to the roots and there's more familiar notes, I think it'll relate to more people. You know?
Absolutely. Enough about metal. I never imagined in my life I'd be talking to you about heavy metal, but this is definitely a highlight of my day. So let's talk about the Hired Guns documentary a little bit.
Yes.
And let's talk about your involvement in that. Fran was definitely mentioned. You were one of the first people that he talked to about this documentary. So tell me about when you got that message from Fran and your reactions.
He actually contacted me on Facebook. And he told me what he was going to do and stuff like that. And I always get these kind of emails that, would you do this? Would you want to do that? And I always go, I don't believe anything. I said, send me something. So he sent me some more information about it. And I realized this is so great because there are so many things that people take for granted that the artist actually did it. They don't realize, like so many times I'm asked, did Billy Joel make up all the drum parts that you played on the records?
Oh.
You know, it's like, no, he didn't. You know, he just came in sometimes without even having the song finished, and we all helped him arrange the song, you know, because it never says arranged by on Billy Joel albums. It says words and music written by Billy Joel, but it doesn't say arranged. It says produced by Phil Ramone, but never arranged, the songs arranged by, because we all did it in the studio. We were all part of that. And the Hired Gun documentary is taking us and showing the people that there are guys that are supporting these artists that are just as important as the artists.
Absolutely.
Because without it, the artist would be like, hey, I know that.
I mean, how important is that fame aspect to you, or how important was it when you first started playing? How important was the aspect of being famous versus just being a musician to you? Did it ever change at any point, like when you were younger to...
Well, I was kind of fortunate to be in the band that I'm in. Like, there's a lot of guys that play with bands that you can't name who's in the band.
Right.
I think I was fortunate because a lot of people know who I am because of my relationship with Billy Joel. So I was kind of in a band, but not in a band.
Right.
I was a sideman kind of thing. And so, like I said, it's really important for these people to be recognized.
Absolutely. So I know there's always with like the happy moments about trying to, you know, remembering the highlights of your career. There's also darker moments. How was it like that, trying to conjure up those things and relive it? And did it help you like get through those conflicts that maybe...
Well, you're talking about dark moments like...
Yeah, I'm just talking about like, yeah.
Yeah, that's when I got heavy metal. I used to throw stuff. You know.
Punch walls.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, well, there's the dark side of music. Unfortunate about how the artist will say, when I make it, you'll make it. When I make money, you'll make money.
Yeah.
And then lawyers and accountants get involved and stuff like that, and they see the guy's name on the marquee, and he says, you know, the rest of the band's name isn't on it. You don't really need these guys, you know.
Absolutely.
Why are you paying them so much money?
Right, that's a quintessential story of people going on to solo work.
Exactly,
like
and that's what the documentary actually shows a lot of, like the way, call it we got screwed or we screwed up or whatever it was, how those relationships ended that weren't pretty.
So what are you hoping to see when the movie is finished? I mean, I know it's hard to predict the future, but what do you think your reactions will be to seeing all this playing out? What do you hope people get from it?
Well, the reaction to the documentary 33 from Stardom,
So
that reaction was huge.
Oh,
because nobody knew about girls that sang background for other artists or who actually sang the lead on a record that wasn't credited on the record.
Well, I mean, I know they had Mary Clayton in that film who did that famous "Give Me Shelter" that makes that song.
It makes the song, absolutely right. And I think that this documentary, Hired Gun, will show that about the musicians, that the musicians made the song. I recently was awarded in the Long Island Music Hall of Fame. I've been
Very nice.
Me and the Billy Joel band that played on the Turnstiles of Stranger, 52nd Street, Glass Houses, we were put in that thing, and we actually played together after 25 years. And it's funny because people came up and they said, we see Billy now, and he's got a band that has no relationship with the records. And they say, it doesn't sound right. But when you guys played, it sounded like the record. So it's like Billy has a harder time replacing the band than we have replacing Billy.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and that's something no one ever thinks about. Absolutely.
Because we were the Billy Joel sound.
Right.
Nobody knows that. They think Billy does it all.
And so, what's next for you after this this documentary and you're doing all this press work? What's next for you?
I have a band called the Slim Kings, and we write our own material, we record, we play around New York. We've opened for ZZ Top and Southside Johnny and people like that. And we get a lot of placements on TV. We're that kind of band. We're like a blues kind of rock kind of garage band. And the guys, I'm the old school guy in the band. The other guys are 30 and under.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of like old school, and they bring in the new sound.
Wow.
And it's like you hear it and you go, it sounds really familiar, but it sounds brand new.
That's got to be really inspiring for you.
Check us out. We're on Facebook, Slim Kings, the Slim Kings.
Slim Kings. I'm going to totally check that out.
Yeah, you'll like it.
Thank you for your time, Liberty. I really appreciate it.